Homelessness in America is at a record high with more than 770,000 people unhoused in 2024. While the government doesn't track the number of unhoused who...
Across America, over 1 million people now live in RVs, not for travel, but survival. City by city, parking lots and quiet streets have turned into neighborhoods on wheels. Tonight, we reveal the U.S. cities where RV homelessness has reached a breaking point, and what it says about the future of the American dream. Let's get rolling. Los Angeles has become the epicenter of America's RV homelessness crisis. More than 4,000 RVs now serve as full-time homes across the city, meaning roughly 1 in 5 unsheltered Angelenos lives in a vehicle.
And Los Angeles has become the country's most notorious tent city and the epicenter of America's homeless crisis. The area is sprawling, and it's not just a collection of tents under an odd bridge here or there.
These makeshift residences crowd major corridors like Venice Boulevard, Sepulveda, and areas near the Bologna wetlands, creating entire neighborhoods on wheels. The crisis stems from LA's perfect storm of challenges: mild year-round weather, skyrocketing rents averaging over $2,900 per month, and a severe shortage of affordable housing. For displaced families, veterans, and low-income workers, vehicles have become the last refuge when apartments are out of reach. The city's Inside Safe initiative has attempted to clear encampments and provide temporary housing, but progress remains frustratingly slow. In some neighborhoods, residents report up to 100 RVs parked per mile, many broken down and leaking sewage onto public streets. Enforcement proves equally complicated. Towing and impounding each vehicle costs approximately $8,000, leaving city storage yards overflowing with abandoned RVs and straining municipal budgets. This crisis reflects California's broader struggles with income inequality, insufficient affordable housing construction, and a broken system that pushes vulnerable residents to the margins. What emerges is a visible symbol of systemic failure, transforming freeways and side streets into sprawling communities of people surviving on society's edge. San Francisco confronts its own vehicle homelessness crisis, with approximately 400 to 450 large vehicles, mostly RVs, serving as full-time residences for people priced out of the housing market.
Tackling a new phenomenon in San Francisco's homeless crisis, the city is seeing an uptick in families experiencing homelessness.
With median rents exceeding $3,300 per month and recent tech industry layoffs displacing workers, vans and campers have become last resort shelters along streets like Division, Cesar Chavez, and Candlestick Point. The city has attempted innovative solutions, including a vehicle triage center in Bayview, designed to safely accommodate about 150 vehicles while providing sanitation services and case management. Yet demand vastly outstrips capacity, leaving hundreds without access to these resources. Simultaneously, enforcement has intensified. Overnight parking bans for oversized vehicles now cover many streets, reflecting growing neighborhood frustration over fires, sewage leaks, and vandalism complaints. Community debates have become increasingly polarized. Residents demand cleanup and safety measures, while advocacy groups argue these policies criminalize poverty rather than address its root causes. This tension between compassion and enforcement defines San Francisco's struggle with vehicular homelessness. The sight of aging RVs parked along city streets has become one of the Bay Area's most visible symbols of extreme wealth inequality, a stark reminder that even in one of America's wealthiest regions, thousands live paycheck to paycheck, one emergency away from losing their housing entirely. Seattle's King County faces one of America's highest concentrations of vehicle homelessness per capita, with roughly 3,000 to 3,500 people living in vehicles, over half residing in RVs.
So there are over 12,000 people who are living unhoused or homeless or unsheltered in Seattle. 1/4 is living in vehicles.
The city's tech-driven housing boom has pushed average rents above $2,400 per month, while shelter capacity remains inadequate, forcing thousands into mobile living situations. RV encampments cluster primarily in industrial neighborhoods like Interbay, SoDo, and Georgetown, where street parking regulations are more relaxed. Seattle's Safe Lot initiative, launched in 2023, offers limited spaces with sanitation facilities, power hookups, and outreach services. However, most RV residents still live off-grid, relying on gas generators or battery banks for basic needs. Public safety concerns have escalated alongside the crisis. Fires caused by faulty propane heating systems have surged 20% since 2022, prompting emergency response calls and community alarm. Frustrated neighborhoods have pressured city officials to conduct periodic sweeps of encampments, yet these enforcement actions typically just relocate RVs to different streets rather than solving underlying problems. Seattle's situation highlights a fundamental policy contradiction. Progressive rhetoric about housing as a human right collides with restrictive zoning laws that limit affordable development. This gap between ideals and implementation perpetuates what has become a visible humanitarian crisis. Thousands of residents surviving in aging vehicles, caught between a housing market they cannot afford and a shelter system with no room left. Portland faces a mounting RV homelessness crisis that has transformed city streets into extended vehicle encampments. As of early 2025, approximately 1,000 to 1,200 vehicles serve as dwellings, with roughly one-third being RVs. Rising rents averaging $2,000 per month, combined with evictions during the 2023-24 economic downturn, pushed hundreds of residents into vehicles as their last housing option. Long-term RV clusters line major corridors including NE 33rd, Columbia Boulevard, and the Lentz neighborhood, most without access to basic sanitation. In response, the city launched Safe Rest Villages, designed to accommodate up to 60 RVs per site, providing portable restrooms and trash collection services. While some neighborhoods embrace these humanitarian efforts, others demand stricter enforcement against vehicle camping. Community complaints about fires, illegal dumping, and blocked sidewalks reflect growing tensions. Portland's geography, mild climate, expansive industrial zones, and relatively lenient parking regulations inadvertently facilitates vehicle dwelling, allowing residents to remain mobile while searching for stability. City officials now estimate that 25% of Portland's unsheltered population lives in vehicles, a proportion that continues climbing despite cleanup sweeps and pilot rehousing programs. This growing crisis underscores the city's struggle to balance compassion with enforcement, affordable housing development with neighborhood concerns, ultimately leaving hundreds trapped in a cycle of displacement on wheels. Phoenix has experienced a rapid surge in RV homelessness, fueled by extreme rent increases and the dismantling of The Zone, the city's largest downtown encampment. Advocates estimate 1,500 to 2,000 people now live in vehicles across Maricopa County, with concentrations of aging RVs along corridors like Grand Avenue and Buckeye Road. Unlike coastal cities, Phoenix confronts a uniquely deadly challenge: summer temperatures regularly exceeding 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Without air conditioning or power hookups, RVs transform into metal ovens where heat-related illness and death become constant threats. Fire departments respond to dozens of propane and electrical fires annually as residents jury-rig cooling and power systems in desperate attempts to survive. City cleanup operations have dismantled major encampments, yet alternatives remain scarce. Shelters operate at full capacity, and vehicle impound fees running into thousands of dollars trap residents in impossible choices between homelessness and debt. Recognizing the life-threatening conditions, nonprofits have begun deploying mobile cooling centers and battery charging stations specifically for RV residents, offering temporary relief during brutal summer months. Phoenix's crisis starkly illustrates how the Southwest's rising cost of living collides with extreme climate conditions. What were once symbols of freedom and adventure, recreational vehicles exploring open roads, have become survival shelters baking on scorching asphalt, housing vulnerable populations with nowhere else to turn as temperatures climb to lethal levels. San Diego's coastline has long drawn full-time vehicle dwellers, but rising costs and tightening enforcement have created increasingly volatile conditions. As of 2025, approximately 1,800 to 2,000 residents live in cars, vans, and RVs, concentrated near Mission Bay, Ocean Beach, and Pacific Highway. The city operates one of the nation's largest safe parking programs, providing roughly 260 designated spaces with basic amenities. Yet demand far exceeds capacity, leaving waiting lists perpetually full. In 2024, stricter ordinances banned oversized vehicle parking between 2 and 6 a.m., effectively pushing RV communities farther inland and away from coastal neighborhoods. Most residents survive off-grid using generators or solar panels, creating makeshift electrical systems to power basic necessities. However, complaints about sewage dumping and trash accumulation have intensified police sweeps and heightened neighborhood tensions. Advocates emphasize that many RV residents are seniors on fixed incomes, unable to afford San Diego's $3,000 average monthly rents or mounting medical expenses. For these vulnerable populations, vehicles represent not lifestyle choices but survival necessities. Despite enforcement pressures, San Diego's mild year-round climate continues attracting displaced people from across California and beyond, solidifying its status as one of the state's largest hubs for vehicular homelessness. The crisis reflects a broader pattern: desirable coastal cities becoming unaffordable to working-class and retired residents, transforming parking lots and side streets into last-resort neighborhoods for thousands living on society's margins. Las Vegas's RV homelessness crisis has expanded beyond downtown's corridor of hope into industrial zones and North Las Vegas neighborhoods. Local reports estimate 1,200 to 1,400 vehicle dwellers, a figure that has doubled since 2020. Many residents live in decommissioned motorhomes purchased cheaply from auctions or abandoned lots, creating makeshift communities in the desert. Rising rents, now averaging $1,900 per month, combined with high eviction rates, have pushed families to the city's outskirts, where empty desert lots have become ad hoc RV parks. Without running water or electrical hookups, sanitation conditions are severe. Residents rely on buckets and solar showers for basic hygiene. In 2024, Clark County began towing derelict RVs and offering motel vouchers as alternatives, but funding covers less than 10% of those in need. Complicating matters further, local shelters refuse to accommodate people living in RVs, forcing residents into impossible choices: surrender their only asset or remain unsheltered. Las Vegas's economy depends heavily on transient labor servicing its massive tourism industry. Yet the RV crisis starkly reveals how quickly tourism wealth coexists with deep, visible poverty. Just beyond the neon lights and casino floors, hundreds of families and service workers live in aging vehicles on dusty lots, a stark reminder that the city's glittering facade often masks the economic precarity of those who keep it running. Oakland's RV homelessness crisis mirrors San Francisco's struggles, but at an even larger scale per capita. The 2025 point-in-time count identified roughly 500 to 600 inhabited vehicles concentrated along Wood Street, West Oakland, and Coliseum Way. These encampments have experienced over 90 fire incidents in 2023 alone, raising serious safety concerns for residents and surrounding neighborhoods. High rents averaging $2,600 per month, combined with displacement pressure from nearby San Francisco, have pushed many into older RVs purchased for under $2,000. These aging vehicles often lack basic safety features, contributing to fire risks and mechanical failures. The city attempted innovative solutions, establishing a Wood Street RV community pilot program offering water access, waste disposal, and case management for 60 vehicles. However, the site ultimately closed due to persistent safety concerns, leaving residents without alternatives. Constant towing operations, cleanup sweeps, and re-encampment cycles have drained municipal resources while failing to address root causes. Residents describe living under perpetual threat of eviction, with nowhere else to go. Oakland's situation illustrates a fundamental tension. Progressive activism advocating for housing justice confronts limited municipal funding and capacity. More broadly, the crisis demonstrates how regional housing markets, not just local policies, create cross-city ripple effects throughout California's homelessness landscape, with displacement in one city directly fueling crises in neighboring communities. San Jose confronts one of America's most expensive housing markets, with median rents exceeding $3,200 per month and a surging population forced into vehicle living. A 2024 city audit identified roughly 700 to 800 RVs serving as primary residences, concentrated in industrial corridors near Berryessa, North 1st Street, and Monterey Road. The city has established limited safe parking zones offering basic amenities, but demand nearly triples available capacity. Many residents are working-class families or tech workers displaced by industry layoffs, surviving on generator power and makeshift sanitation systems. Fires and sewage spills occur regularly, prompting frequent neighborhood complaints and safety concerns. The Silicon Valley paradox becomes starkly visible here. Billion-dollar tech campuses operating mere blocks from long lines of decaying RVs housing displaced workers. Officials estimate that 1 in 4 unsheltered people in Santa Clara County now lives in a vehicle, a proportion that continues climbing despite intervention efforts. Pilot rehousing programs have shown limited success, hampered by the reality that few affordable housing units have actually opened. Development remains slow, blocked by high construction costs, restrictive zoning, and community resistance. This leaves hundreds parked indefinitely along industrial streets, caught between a housing market they cannot afford and a shelter system with no capacity. San Jose's crisis epitomizes how extreme wealth concentration can coexist with, and arguably contribute to, widespread housing insecurity. Sacramento's location between the Bay Area and Central Valley has transformed it into a relocation zone for those priced out of California's coastal cities. As of 2025, estimates suggest 1,000 to 1,200 people live in vehicles, a dramatic increase from fewer than 400 in 2019. The American River Parkway and Richards Boulevard corridors now host sprawling clusters of RVs, trailers, and vans. Sacramento County's average rent has surged to $2,200 per month, while median income remains stagnant, forcing working families into mobile shelters as their only affordable option. The city has experimented with safe ground sites offering limited hookups, sanitation facilities, and social service access, but available space remains woefully inadequate. Residents face regular enforcement sweeps and citations for expired registration tags or illegal dumping violations. Many RVs are decades old and unregistered, complicating relocation and compliance efforts. These aging vehicles often lack basic safety features, creating additional challenges for both residents and city officials. Sacramento's rapidly growing vehicular homeless population underscores how California's housing crisis continues spreading inland, transforming what was historically a more affordable capital region into yet another front line of the state's affordability collapse. The crisis reveals that escaping coastal housing costs no longer guarantees stability. Displacement and vehicle living have become regional phenomena affecting cities throughout California's interior. Fresno has emerged as an unexpected hotspot for RV homelessness, particularly among displaced agricultural and construction workers. City officials estimate 600 to 800 people now live in RVs or trailers clustered around Highway 99, the airport district, and abandoned industrial zones. Unlike coastal cities, Fresno lacks formal safe parking programs, leaving residents without access to sanitation facilities or trash disposal. Summer temperatures regularly exceeding 105 degrees Fahrenheit create life-threatening conditions inside unventilated RVs, where heat-related illness becomes a constant danger. Fresno's median rent, once considered affordable, has surged 70% since 2015, while wages remain stagnant. This combination has pushed working-class families and laborers into vehicles as their last housing option. Police routinely tag and tow derelict RVs, though impound lots quickly reach capacity without solving underlying problems. Churches and nonprofits provide mobile showers and water refills, offering essential relief, but few long-term solutions exist. The city's homeless service budget remains limited compared to larger metropolitan areas, forcing most assistance to come from volunteers and grassroots organizations. Fresno's RV crisis represents California's evolving geography of poverty, not merely coastal displacement, but interior cities now buckling under secondary migration pressures and economic strain. As housing costs ripple inland, Central Valley communities find themselves confronting crises once associated exclusively with expensive coastal metros, demonstrating that California's affordability collapse has become truly statewide. Tucson's mild winters have long attracted retirees and travelers, but the RV landscape has transformed dramatically. As of 2025, local advocacy groups estimate 800 to 1,000 people living full-time in RVs due to economic hardship. Parking clusters appear along Interstate 10, Grant Road, and near South Palo Verde Park. Many residents are older adults surviving on Social Security or disability income, unable to afford rising rents now averaging $1,600 per month. What once symbolized freedom and adventure has become makeshift shelter, with aging RVs suffering from failing plumbing and electrical systems. The city operates 2 safe lots, providing limited capacity for 50 vehicles each, but most dwellers remain without formal services or support. Summer temperatures regularly reaching 110 degrees Fahrenheit destroy power systems and create life-threatening living conditions inside metal vehicles. Fire and police departments report steady increases in propane explosions and battery-related emergencies as residents struggle to maintain basic cooling and electricity. Tucson's growing RV homelessness crisis exposes the economic fragility of fixed-income retirees and service industry workers. Populations once considered stable, but now priced out of conventional housing. The city's affordability, long a draw for those seeking retirement destinations, has eroded as costs climb, while Social Security benefits remain flat. The result? Hundreds of vulnerable seniors and low-wage workers surviving in deteriorating vehicles, caught between inadequate income and disappearing affordable housing options. Denver's housing boom and tech influx have pushed thousands toward alternative living arrangements. By 2025, local outreach programs estimate roughly 1,500 people reside in vehicles, with a significant portion living in RVs. Extensive RV rows line Federal Boulevard, Globeville, and Elyria-Swansea neighborhoods, clearly visible from Interstate 70. Colorado's harsh winters make vehicle dwelling particularly dangerous. Residents rely on propane heaters for survival, frequently causing fires or carbon monoxide poisoning incidents that strain emergency services. Average rents have climbed to $2,400 per month, while homelessness has surged 35% over 2 years, creating an affordability crisis once unthinkable in this former opportunity city. Denver introduced ordinances allowing temporary safe outdoor spaces equipped with heating stations and security patrols, but capacity remains woefully inadequate for current need. Meanwhile, complaints about waste dumping and blocked streets have prompted enforcement sweeps, displacing entire RV clusters overnight without providing viable alternatives. Many dwellers are gig economy workers or families evicted after COVID-era rental protections expired, struggling to regain housing stability in an increasingly expensive market. Denver's RV homelessness reveals how once affordable cities now face the same collapse as the coasts. Soaring rents and rapid migration have outpaced social services, forcing hundreds to endure freezing winters inside vehicles, a stark reminder that even prosperity can leave working people out in the cold. San Bernardino's industrial outskirts and abandoned lots have transformed into vast RV settlements. Estimates suggest 500 to 700 people live in RVs across the metro area, particularly near Waterman Avenue and Hospitality Lane. Decades of economic decline and limited affordable housing, with rents averaging $1,800 per month, have driven both local residents and migrants from Los Angeles into makeshift RV communities. Many vehicles lack running water or electricity, forcing residents to rely on diesel generators that hum constantly, creating noise and air pollution in surrounding neighborhoods. Illegal dumping and fire hazards have overwhelmed sanitation crews and emergency services. City officials periodically tow vehicles in enforcement sweeps, but abandoned or relocated RVs typically reappear within days, making the problem cyclical rather than solvable through removal alone. Local churches provide food and fuel vouchers, offering essential support, yet few long-term housing alternatives exist. San Bernardino's location along major freight routes creates a unique dynamic. Many residents remain semi-mobile, chasing temporary jobs in logistics and warehouse sectors. This employment pattern sustains a transient but semi-permanent subcommunity of RV dwellers surviving between city ordinances and economic necessity. The crisis reflects decades of regional disinvestment, creating conditions where working residents cannot afford traditional housing, yet remain economically tethered to the area, trapped in aging vehicles parked on industrial lots. Spokane's relatively low cost of living once made it a refuge for people priced out of Seattle, but that safety net is rapidly eroding. As of 2025, outreach groups estimate 400 to 500 RVs serve as dwellings across the city, nearly double the count from 2022. Many park along Trent Avenue, Sprague Street, and North Division, creating visible encampments in industrial corridors. Winter temperatures regularly dropping below 20 degrees Fahrenheit make heating a constant, life-threatening struggle. Rising rents averaging $1,600 per month, combined with limited shelter capacity, have intensified the crisis. The Trent Resource and Assistance Center offers services to roughly 300 people, but many RV dwellers decline to abandon their vehicles, fearing loss of belongings and their only remaining asset. City officials face mounting pressure from residents demanding street clearance and restoration of neighborhood stability, while nonprofits advocate for humane alternatives rather than enforcement-focused solutions. Spokane's growing RV homelessness shows how smaller Northwest cities are inheriting the West Coast's crisis. Once an affordable alternative, Spokane now faces rising vehicle homelessness without the funding or housing capacity to manage it. Lacking safe parking areas, resources, and year-round shelters, hundreds struggle to survive harsh winters inside aging RVs parked across the city. Honolulu's paradise image conceals one of America's most severe vehicle-dwelling crises per capita. Roughly 1,200 to 1,400 people live in cars, vans, or RVs, many clustered near Sand Island, Ala Moana, and Kapolei beaches. With median rents exceeding $2,900 per month and severely limited public housing, working families and elderly residents frequently resort to vehicles following eviction. Hawaii's year-round warm climate allows outdoor survival, but enforcement remains exceptionally strict. Overnight beach parking and camping are illegal on most public lands, and police regularly clear encampments, confiscating vehicles without providing alternative shelter options. The city launched a pilot safe parking program in 2024 accommodating 50 vehicles with basic services, but available space filled immediately, leaving hundreds without access. Island economics compound the crisis. Fuel and maintenance costs make RV living extraordinarily expensive, often more than mainland equivalents, forcing many residents to eventually abandon vehicles entirely when they become inoperable. Honolulu's RV homelessness exposes the island's harsh reality: high wages for tourists, low pay for locals, and almost no affordable housing to bridge the gap. Paradise has become a battleground for survival, where working-class residents live in parking lots overlooking beaches they can no longer afford. This isn't just a crisis, it's a mirror of what America is becoming. If you've seen RVs parked in your city, drop a comment below. Tell us what it's like where you live. And before you go, watch our next video: the truth about why RV parks are kicking people out. Because the road to survival doesn't end here.